we have a 70s icon, the Triumph Stag. It has such a cool yet classy look. I mean, just look at those subtle lines. Look how they managed to add all that chrome without making it overtly offensive. They were available to order with wire wheels, but why overcomplicate things? The standard steel wheels were a little basic, even with the wheel trims, so these understated optional alloy wheels were a great choice. The standard exhaust system consisted of dual tips, however this particular car has had a sports quad tip exhaust system fitted, which we'll talk more about in just a little bit. The T-bar isn't everyone's cup of tea, but could you really imagine a Stag without it? To me, it's a sign of a sturdy car. It says, don't worry, you're in safe hands. And look at those headlights. I'm not usually a fan of separated high and low beam lights, but the way they sit in that black grille which contrasts against the chrome bumper, I mean, it truly is just a work of art. This particular car has the original 3-litre Triumph V8, which was a little troublesome in its day, mainly due to the cooling issues, which meant some owners opted to change the engine to a more reliable 3.5-litre Rover V8. However, nowadays there are uprated radiators available, as well as other modifications such as raising the position of the overflow bottle and adding a Kenlow fan, which also helps minimise the risk of overheating. To many people, myself included, the Triumph Stag is one of the best looking cars to come out of the 70s, and it was also quite ahead of its time when it comes to the driving features. It benefits from driving aids such as power steering, assisted braking, electric windows, and air conditioning was also an optional extra. The interior has nice comfortable Leverett seats. The wooden dash also adds a touch of luxury, especially when paired with the chrome clock surrounds. This is an aftermarket steering wheel, which could probably be a little darker to better match the dash. The aftermarket speakers in the door card are definitely not to my taste, but can easily be removed, and likewise the stereo system. This car is a 3-speed automatic, but they were also available in 4-speed manual and the preferred 4-speed manual with overdrive. There is room in the back, which is a bit limited for legroom, so it may be more suitable for children. I mentioned earlier that this car had a sports exhaust fitted, which was added to give a little bit more of a throaty growl. Although with that being said, I did see a poll whereby the Stag was voted as having the best V8 exhaust note. Triumph offered the early Stags with an optional hardtop, and the later cars had them as standard. Although, in my opinion, the Stag is now a car to be enjoyed in the summer, and most owners rarely attach the cumbersome hardtops. However, if you do get caught out in one of our wet summer days, then it has a soft top conveniently stowed away in this rear compartment. It's not the easiest soft top to operate, but it will get you out of trouble if you get caught in a shower. Okay, let's take her for a spin. So what's it like to drive? Well, for starters, you are sat on these very comfortable Leverett seats, which you feel as though you could travel from one continent to another without any discomfort whatsoever. A quick peek down at the clocks and you get to feast your eyes on the wonderful wooden dash and the chrome clock surrounds, which are the sort of details you just don't get in the modern day era of lightweight plastics. And then you have that great exhaust note which instantly puts a smile on your face as soon as you give it some throttle. Having an automatic gearbox means that some cars are prone to jolting gear change, but that isn't an issue with this car, as it has had mechanical work to sort out some of the niggles that had accumulated over the years. It handles as you expect an old Grand Tourer to handle, a bit wallowy, but just soaks up the bumps. No harsh, stiff, sports suspension here. The reaction from pedestrians are varied when they see a Stag. The older generation can remember a time when the Stag wasn't regarded as a classic, a time when it was just a good-looking, great-sounding car, albeit with some mechanical issues. The younger generation, who have never seen a Stag before, don't know what it is, but can appreciate the great-sounding exhaust note and the wonderful appearance. So what are my thoughts on owning a Stag? Well, I would say if you can afford one, then I wouldn't hesitate to buy one, especially because at the time of making this video, the prices seem to be on the rise. However, with that being said, as with many classic cars, they do have their issues. So if you own the market for one, make sure you do your research before pulling the trigger.